INTP wiring of the mind. Hey, it's Joel Mark Witt from Personality Hacker. As an INTP, your mind is fundamentally wired differently from other personalities. You've probably already heard that you're an introvert, intuitive, thinker, perceiver, and that's correct. And a lot of articles and resources focus on the behaviors you show the world as an INTP. Behavior can be helpful, but it isn't the complete picture when figuring out your personality. I want to give you a peek inside your mind today to expose the mental wiring that makes you an INTP. So let's get started. Your four-letter code, INTP, gives us insight into how your mind is learning new information and making decisions. The primary way your mind makes decisions is a mental process we've nicknamed accuracy. Its technical name is introverted thinking. When evaluating any decision, accuracy asks the question, does this make analytical sense? It's a thinking process concerned with data, truth, and congruity of thought. Imagine a 4-passenger car. If one of your mental processes could drive, it would be accuracy. Using this mental process puts you in flow. You've been using it your whole life. It's how you decide what to do each day. If accuracy is how you make decisions as an INTP, then the mental process we've nicknamed exploration is how you learn new information. The technical name for exploration is extroverted intuition. When looking at the world, exploration asks the question, what if? What if time is relative? What if we can put a human colony on Mars? What if we combine chocolate, wait for it, with peanut butter? Think about that 4-passenger car again. If accuracy is in the driver's seat, then exploration is in the front passenger seat. It's your co-pilot mental process and what we call here at Personality Hacker, your growth state. Of course, this is a 4-passenger car, so you also have 2 mental processes in the back seat. Sitting right behind the co-pilot is a mental process we call memory. Memory's all about precedent, safety, doing the reliable thing. It's about realizing who you are based on your past and your ties to the past. This mental process has the development of about a 10-year-old child. Finally, behind the driver of accuracy sits a mental process we call harmony. We call this your blind spot or 3-year-old mental process. Harmony is a feeling process and asks the question, how can I get everyone's needs met? I want you to notice that we haven't talked about INTP behaviors. Instead, I've been talking about the mental wiring of your mind. Behaviors can give us clues to how your mind is wired, but it's far more interesting to dive into what causes our behaviors as people from our personalities. Because you're an INTP, I'm going to encourage you to read about cognitive functions online. For most types, I'd steer them away from trying to research this on their own, since it can often be too much information to sift through. But for you as an INTP, search for resources on the cognitive functions and let us know what you find out. Of course, our website, personalityhacker.com, has a bunch of great resources too. I'd love to invite you over to read our articles and listen to our podcast on the INTP personality type, or take our online personality test and join the community of like minds, people just like you, wanting to grow themselves. Here at Personality Hacker, we don't talk about personality types for their own sake. We think understanding your personality is one of the best ways to frame your personal growth journey. And we attract INTPs who are interested in personal growth. Next up, I want to talk about the best way to grow yourself as an INTP. Remember the car model we use to show the mental wiring of your personality. As an INTP, your co-pilot is the mental process called exploration. Its technical name is extroverted intuition. This is what we call your growth position. It's the highest leverage point for growth in your personality. Exploration allows you as an INTP to test your conclusions. Are they accurate? Are you falling for any bias? Is there a piece of information you're missing? Sometimes the only way to see your own bias is to get out into the world and see for yourself. There may even be a radical new way of seeing the same information, leading to an awesome new innovation. This can be a challenge. Every personality type tends to avoid growing their co-pilot mental process. But here lies the power of understanding your personality. It makes sense to focus on something that can expand your view of the world. It makes sense that to think more accurately, you'll need to continue expanding the frameworks and information that you work with as an INTP. Start asking yourself what-if questions. Start pushing buttons all around you just to see what happens. Explore a new part of town. Get up on a Saturday and just start walking with no agenda. Let yourself ramble. Try a new food each time you go out. Enroll yourself in an improv class. Do what it takes to start messing with the environment around you. As an INTP, you will bring your best version of yourself to the world when you get outside your comfort zone and explore every aspect of life. We'd love you to keep us up to date about your journey. One of the best places to do that is our Facebook page, facebook.com/personalityhacker. And of course, come over to personalityhacker.com and leave a comment, ask a question, or take our personality test. Next, I want to talk about the defense strategies your mind uses that steal happiness from you. And of course, what to do about it. The word defensive. You probably think of an emotional state or someone getting offended in the moment. She's acting so defensive, someone might say. But I'm not talking about emotions. I'm using the word positionally. As an INTP, you have a specific area of your mind that you defend. As an INTP, that's your memory process sitting in the backseat of your car. It has the sophistication of a 10-year-old child. That's okay when you use this process to create intimacy or playfulness. The trouble starts when you begin to rely on this 10-year-old process to see the world accurately. Since memory is concerned with precedent and what came before it, it can stop you from expanding your worldview and the data you take in. Memory, its technical name is introverted sensing, generally shows up when you're afraid to take a risk you may intuitively know is right for you. For other people, playing it safe is the best choice, but as an INTP, you're much better at taking risks. If you let your 10-year-old of memory do your thinking for you, it will encourage you to become an intellectual shut-in, closed to any new information, and your thinking will become sloppy. At worst, INTPs can even become physical shut-ins, so afraid of taking risks, they rarely leave the house, and instead choose to entertain themselves in a, quote, safe environment. You need to explore and take chances to prevent becoming stagnant in your choices and worldview. Don't let your memory process steal your happiness. The solution is to focus on growing your exploration process like we've talked about before. I want to hear from you. How are you letting your 10-year-old memory hijack your happiness? What are the ways you as an INTP are playing it safe? You can leave a comment or take our personality test over at personalityhacker.com. And next, we're going to talk about how to best show and receive love as an INTP. I've got 2 quick lists for you today. First, how INTPs ask, "Do you love me?" Second, how INTPs show other people love. Here are a few examples of how INTPs ask, "Do you love me?" Just imagine an INTP asking these questions. Do you think I'm totally competent? Are you impressed with my performance? Do you trust that I'm not lying to you or BSing you in any way? Does it make sense that you love me? Here's some examples of INTPs saying, "Yes, I love you." Just imagine an INTP making these statements. "I will be rigorously honest with you. If I have a wandering eye, I will tell you and provide a solution. I will gift you with my precision. I'll learn you and give high performance at all levels. I will protect you from others, but not from yourself. I will never judge you. Instead, I'll be there for you when things go bad, no matter why they went bad." As an INTP, you're probably nodding in agreement. Just remember, other personalities can sometimes see these ways you show love as cold and insensitive. Feel free to share with people in your life how your mind works. Let them know the ways you show love are authentic to you. If you want to go deeper in your personal development, we have tons of resources, articles, recordings, and other information about personality development through the lens of understanding your personality. Come over to personalityhacker.com. Next up, let's talk about where to go next in your personal growth as an INTP. I have some action steps for you. We've been talking about you, the INTP personality type. I've already detailed the mental wiring of your mind. We've talked about your highest leverage point for growth and shed light on your defensive strategies. And we've outlined how you give and receive love. So what's next for you as an INTP? How will you launch yourself on a personal development journey that makes sense for you? Understanding that each of us have a unique personal growth path seems obvious, and yet self-help authors and teachers often teach a one-size-fits-all model of growth. At Personality Hacker, it makes sense that personal growth will be personalized to you as an INTP. So that's how we've designed our frameworks and models. You now know the mental process to grow yourself as an INTP is exploration. The enemy of exploration is the mundane and the rote. Exploration requires freedom to experiment, and too much mundane activity or reliance upon procedure is disheartening to your exploration process. So set up conditions to access exploration as much as possible. A good way to practice this technique is to seek out new situations you would normally avoid. If there's a question of doing something that makes sense to you, but may have hassle or an unsafe element to it, practice taking the risk instead of playing it safe. It's common for INTPs, once they get past the scary part, to say, that wasn't so bad. Most of your growth will happen by being adventurous and letting go of the belief that you must live the way others want you to live. If you really want to deep dive into your individual growth plan as an INTP, I invite you to check out our INTP Personal Development Starter Kit. You can find more information at personalityhacker.com. Let me know what personal growth actions you're taking in your life as an INTP and what has already been working for you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Come on over to personalityhacker.com and let us know how it's going for you. I'm Joel Mark Witt for Personality Hacker. Can't wait to talk with you next time.